Hello and welcome to South First. I am Anusha Ravi Sood and you're watching State of Play, our daily roundup of all things politics, policy, and human interest. The Congress has a Shashi Tharoor problem, or rather, Shashi Tharoor has a Congress problem. That is what was on display on Wednesday when AICC President Mallikarjun Kharge, in a very rare display of passing jibes, of course, without naming his own MP, insisted that Shashi Tharoor, of course, has great hold and knowledge of English and he's part of the Congress's working committee, asserting that he is an office bearer of the Congress, meanwhile, also insisting that the Congress puts the nation first, while for others it is Modi first. This were his comments in criticism against Shashi Tharoor for being part of the international delegation that was sent to represent India to defend Operation Sindoor on international waters. Although the Congress did not recommend Shashi Tharoor's name, he was handpicked personally by the BJP. What has happened since is Shashi Tharoor being absolutely brazen about not defending just the country, not defending Operation Sindoor, which was a targeted attack on terror factories in Pakistan and POK, but also showering praises on Prime Minister Narendra Modi in what is a clear departure from the Congress, his party's official stance on the handling of the entire Pahalgam terror attack. While showering praises at the Prime Minister, including in an article that he had written, very proudly shared by Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself on his social media handles, Shashi Tharoor has not raised questions that his party has consistently raised on accountability, on taking responsibility for the Pahalgam attack. But this brazening out of Shashi Tharoor, in fact, even on Wednesday, right after Mallikarjun Kharge, the AICC president, said what he did about Shashi Tharoor passing jibes, taking jibes at him, Tharoor also, in a very cryptic tweet, insisted that a bird has its own wings and does not need anybody's permission to fly. The sky belongs to everyone. Well, Shashi Tharoor also brazening it out, insisting this isn't the first time that Shashi Tharoor has defended his stance on being part of the delegation to defend Operation Sindoor. He, in fact, has said that he will not be left wanting when the country has called upon him to represent it before other countries on international waters and international platforms. While there is very little doubt that perhaps Shashi Tharoor is the most qualified parliamentarian today, considering his history in diplomacy and international relations, is perhaps the best pick to represent India on diplomatic missions in other countries, the Congress did not want to send Shashi Tharoor for its own reasons. Primarily, Shashi Tharoor and leaders of the Congress have been at loggerheads for many years now. But perhaps the Congress also wanted to take this opportunity to display two things: that irrespective of its recommendation, which is the due process to be followed, the BJP would pick Shashi Tharoor even if the party did not recommending, and two, and more importantly, that Shashi Tharoor will not abide by the decision of the Congress party and will defy its call. But if anybody thinks that the tiff between Shashi Tharoor and several leaders of the Congress party, who are criticized as darbaris, as those loyal to the first family of the Congress, the Nehru Gandhi family of the Congress, may have missed out on the fact that this isn't the first time that Shashi Tharoor has come face to face with the decision of the Gandhi family. In 2022, when the AICC decided it is going to hold elections for the post of the AICC president, and clearly Mallikarjun Kharge was backed by Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, Shashi Tharoor went ahead and filed his nomination, making it a contest instead of a unanimous choice. It is great for democracy to thrive in a huge and old party like the Congress. When the results did come in, it did not surprise, shock anybody. Mallikarjun Kharge, who was the endorsed candidate of the Gandhi family, of course not officially, but deemed so, did register a thumping victory over Shashi Tharoor. But that too was really not the starting point of the contention between Shashi Tharoor and several leaders of the Congress. Shashi Tharoor was part of many leaders of the Congress who had written a letter many years ago to the UPA chairperson Sonia Gandhi, calling for restructuring, calling for reforms in the way party functions. Several of these leaders, including Anand Sharma, Manish Tiwari, all of them were part of this group of Congress leaders who had written Ghulam Nabi Azad. Among them, several of these leaders have already quit the Congress and joined other parties or have charted out their own course without joining any other political party. But Shashi Tharoor continued to stay in the party. On several issues, Shashi Tharoor has been at loggerheads with the Congress party, primarily because Shashi Tharoor likes to present himself as more of an erudite scholar and academic, somebody who's been a diplomat before, who brings with him a treasure trove not just of knowledge but also political acumen and the ability to think clearly, analyze topics beyond the boundaries or rather restrictions of a political party and its stance. While Shashi Tharoor, in several interviews, even in an interview to me on South First, insists that his ideology is the Congress's ideology. It is centrist. He believes that his values, his principles are closest to the values and principles and ideology that the Congress professes. Congress, he deems, is an umbrella of ideologies where there is a place for everybody from different spectrum of ideologies, of ideas and thoughts. More often than not, Shashi Tharoor's attempts to take a stance on things in a measured manner instead of going by what the party's stance on the issue is has left him at loggerheads with the party's leadership. Whether it was the Millennium Port that is currently operated by Adani, when the entire Congress's leadership was accusing the company of indulging in crony capitalism and the incumbent BJP government led by Narendra Modi supporting this crony capitalism, Shashi Tharoor was backing the Millennium Port. While right now it seems like a scenario where this grand old party, an entire structure, has been standing against, has been criticizing one single man, one MP who's simply been handpicked by the government to defend Operation Sindoor. One shouldn't forget that the Congress too has backed Shashi Tharoor despite protest opposition from its own state unit. When Shashi Tharoor wanted to make a political debut, the Congress accommodated him despite a lot of criticism, pushback from its own senior leaders in the Kerala unit. And now Shashi Tharoor is an MP, a four-time MP representing the very complicated Thiruvananthapuram constituency. Even today, without Shashi Tharoor, that constituency has no alternate strong leadership for the Congress, and that is by design. The Congress has backed Shashi Tharoor whole and solely, especially the central leadership of the Congress, considering that he does not enjoy the same kind of support from the state unit. Now, as fourth-time MP, Shashi Tharoor was among the front runners or popular choices for the Chief Minister of Kerala position. But considering the kind of opposition he faces within the state unit, a lot of people deeming him somebody who was parachuted into the politics of Kerala, several sections criticizing him for being too white collared to understand the politics of Kerala, too nuanced to mix with other leaders, other cadres of the party, etc. These have been the criticisms that have come Shashi Tharoor's side. But despite all of that, with the backing of the central leadership of the party and his increasing popularity that he has gained over the years, with his public presence, with his parliamentary debates that are an absolute delight to watch, and his consistent engagement with his constituents as well as first time voters, young voters, educated voters of Kerala, Shashi Tharoor has become a brand in himself. And now, after years of backing by the central leadership of the Congress, Shashi Tharoor has a lot to give back to the party. But what one cannot also ignore is the fact that Shashi Tharoor is among the very few MPs of the Congress who have been consistently sidelined by the central leadership, and that has been the scenario ever since a set of Congress leaders wrote to UPA chairperson Sonia Gandhi insisting reforms for the party. Among MPs who are known to be good orators, to be great debaters, to be very active parliamentarians who have raised compelling questions demanding accountability from the government and raising issues that matter to people the most are MPs like Manish Tiwari, like Tamil Nadu's Karthi Chidambaram, and of course Shashi Tharoor. Incidentally, these leaders have pointed to how over the last few sessions of the parliament, they haven't even been given an opportunity to speak on topics of importance. This move of the Congress, this decision of the Congress has left a bad taste in their mouth. While the Congress should be questioned about why it did not choose Shashi Tharoor to be part of the delegation, or rather the list that it was recommending to the government to represent the country or defend Operation Sindoor, one can also always ask, why did Shashi Tharoor, despite being an MP of the Congress who has enjoyed the patronage of the central leadership of the Congress, choose to defy the party's decision and still be part of the delegation put together by the BJP government, or rather the BJP-led NDA government? All these questions become extremely important in the context of the upcoming Kerala Assembly elections. Shashi Tharoor, without doubt, is one of the most influential, popular leaders of the Congress in Kerala. While his ability to pull votes may not exceed his own constituency of Thiruvananthapuram, but Shashi Tharoor is a crowd puller. Whether it is young voters, whether it is educated voters, whether it is the urban voter who's generally in other states seen as the first targeted voter of the BJP, Shashi Tharoor is somebody who appeals to all of these demographic of voters. Even before the Kerala Assembly election, the state will see local body elections, and this is where the BJP believes it can pull off several upsets. Losing a leader like Shashi Tharoor, not that Shashi Tharoor has said he's going to quit the Congress or join the BJP. If anything, the MP has insisted, has acknowledged that there are some differences between him and the leadership of the Congress, and that will be spoken about and things will be settled or resolved. He insists that he's not jumping to go join the BJP, unlike several of his juniors. In fact, somebody like an Anil Antony, who was being trained under Shashi Tharoor, who's worked with Shashi Tharoor leading the Kerala's IT cell, joined the BJP, now as a national spokesperson of the BJP, holds an office bearer position in the party. While Shashi Tharoor insists that he's not leaping to join the BJP, and acknowledges that some misunderstanding or miscommunication or issues with the Congress leadership needs to be resolved. Losing somebody like Shashi Tharoor is definitely going to be detrimental for the Congress that is hoping to deliver, or rather hoping to see a huge victory in the upcoming Kerala Assembly elections, considering that the incumbent Pinarayi Vijayan government is facing severe anti-incumbency. In the case the Congress loses Shashi Tharoor, is it going to be a huge loss? As far as perception is concerned, absolutely, without doubt. But then what happens to Shashi Tharoor, considering his very vehement stance against the communal politics and ideological stance of the BJP? Shashi Tharoor, if he stands by what he has been professing all these years, may not consider BJP as the ideal place or party for him if he were to quit the Congress. That leaves him with the left, the CPIM, that is in power in Kerala. But given the kind of anti-incumbency it faces, the CPIM is struggling heading into the elections in 2026. Where does that then leave Shashi Tharoor? Several people close to him insist that Shashi Tharoor would like to be considered to be the Congress's chief minister face in Kerala, failing which he is very happy to be and continue as Thiruvananthapuram MP. Let's remember, he said Thiruvananthapuram MP to people who are close to him, not necessarily which party he comes from or which party he would contest from. He's very happy continuing as Thiruvananthapuram MP. And the end of this term, at the end of this term, his fourth term as MP, he'll be more than happy to retire, quit from politics, and take up other interests. Several leaders in the Congress believe that other than Shashi Tharoor being defiant, they do not want to accommodate all of his whims and fancies and tantrums, according to what several leaders in the Congress insist, because they do not want to give in to any hostile behavior. Had Shashi Tharoor followed the party's decision, abided by the party's call, perhaps things would have been smoother between the two parties. However, with Shashi Tharoor very clearly showing that the party has sidelined him for far too long, and now when an opportunity presents itself, he will seize it with both hands. the party too does not want to give in to any kind of hostile behavior. This has put several leaders, cadres in Kerala unit of the Congress in a very difficult situation. A chunk of leaders, cadres, young aspiring MLAs look up to leaders like Shashi Tharoor, considering they understand the value that a crowd puller he is. They also understand that beyond Thiruvananthapuram, other than pulling crowds, there is very little to expect politically from Shashi Tharoor, his influence and his presence. But losing him will definitely cost the party vote share as well as face. Every time there is a tiff between Shashi Tharoor and the Congress's leaders, television channels, news headlines, newspaper headlines, even digital headlines are buzzing with questions of whether Shashi Tharoor is going to join the BJP. But from the looks of it currently, it seems that decision is not on the cards. But will the situation change closer to Kerala Assembly election is something that we'll have to wait and watch. Until I come back to you with yet another episode of State of Play, do stay tuned to South First. Thank you so much for watching.